In one 12-month stretch, Canada's non-permanent resident population fell by 76% from its 2024 peak. That is international students, temporary foreign workers, the people who quietly fill condo rentals from Brentwood to Yaletown. And that is not a slowdown, that is the engine of Vancouver's rental market being unplugged, and the data we got this week confirms what is left behind. If you bought a pre-sale condo in 2022 betting you would rent it out to a graduate student paying around $2,800 a month, you are now competing with a city where new lease rents just dropped 3.6% year over year. And if you're a landlord who refinanced into a variable mortgage and underwrote your numbers off the rent you were getting in 2023, you have a math problem that no spring bounce is going to solve. And if you're a homeowner in West Vancouver wondering why the offers have stopped coming in, here is your answer. Prices in West Vancouver are down 12.8% year over year and down 23% over the past 10 years. That's a decade of holding a negative return. That is what happens when a city stops absorbing residences and starts shedding them. The cost of getting this story wrong, of buying like it's still 2022 or selling like the market is going to bail you out next quarter, is measured in hundreds of thousands of dollars per household. I'm going to walk you through 3 migration flows that, taken together, explain almost everything you are seeing in the Vancouver market right now. The international flow, that is the headline. The interprovincial flow, that is the boring one nobody talks about, and it has been going against the city for years. And then the third one, which is the one that should make every single homeowner in the city pay attention. The third flow is not about people moving cities, it's about people moving out of homes they can no longer afford, and the data on that is the worst it has been in BC since the records have started. By the end of this video, you're going to fully understand what is going on in the Vancouver market. The April numbers just came in and they aren't pretty. The fourth fewest sales in any April in 26 years, prices down across every property type. West Vancouver is bleeding, and these are not blip numbers and not a soft patch. They are the natural consequence of 3 population flows running in the wrong direction at the same time. Stay with me here because the next number changes how you read every listing in the city. Flow number 1, the international engine that just got turned off. Vancouver's rental market, and especially its condo investor market, has been quietly run for a decade by international demand. International students, postgraduate work permits, the temporary foreign worker program, to name a few. And that demand is what made a 450 square foot Brentwood unit pencil at $650,000. It is what kept pre-sale selling, and it is what justified every cap rate spreadsheet that landed in front of a buyer in 2021. That engine has been deliberately and aggressively wound down. Federal study permit caps, postgraduate work permit changes, temporary foreign worker rule changes, and the result is non-permanent resident admissions are down 32% year over year as of February. And remember, admissions are only the new entries. Outflows are continuing at their normal rate of roughly 400,000 people per year. So you have brand new arrivals collapsing while the old visa holders cycle out on schedule, and the math of that gives you 76% drop from the 2024 peak. The CMHC rental market data tells you what this looks like on the ground. There are now 240,000 rental units under construction in Canada, a record equivalent to over 8% of the entire existing rental stock. You have record supply landing into a city whose biggest source of rental demand just got caught by 3/4, and the Vancouver specific number is the one that matters most. New lease rents in the cities are down 3.6% year over year. That is one of the steepest negative rental moves in the entire country. Vancouver landlords have not seen new lease rents go negative in over a decade. Flow number 2, which is the Alberta drain, and this is the flow nobody at a downtown Vancouver dinner party wants to talk about. For years now, well before 2026, British Columbia has been losing more people to Alberta than it gains from Alberta. Net interprovincial migration pulled by lower taxes, cheaper housing, and a labor market that has been more forgiving for skilled trades, transport, energy, and increasing tech. A young family in Burnaby looks at the math, a $2 million half duplex versus a fully detached house in Northwest Calgary for under $900,000, and they make a perfectly rational decision. The decision is to leave. The aggregate effect over multiple years is that BC has been quietly exporting its working age, mortgage-carrying, child-rearing demographic into other provinces. That is a demographic that buys townhomes. That is a demographic that trades up from a 1-bedroom condo to a 2-bedroom and 3-bed. And when that demographic leaves, it does not just hit aggregate aggregate population numbers, it hits the exact rung of the housing ladder Vancouver has been trying to sell its way through for the past 3 years. Flow number 3, the internal exit, the one that should worry every single homeowner. This third flow is the most uncomfortable one to discuss because it does not show up in a population chart. It shows up in delinquency data, in insolvency filings, and in court-ordered sales. It is the flow of people who are physically still here, but who are quietly or not so quietly exiting the homes that they own. I'm about to say something that is going to make a lot of agents in Vancouver very uncomfortable here. The financial stress in this province is no longer theoretical. British Columbia mortgage delinquencies surged 14% in the past 3 months, the largest regional jump in the entirety of Canada. BC is running ahead of Ontario, Quebec, and leading the country into late payment territory. BC consumer insolvencies on a rolling 12-month basis are now at unprecedented levels, the highest in the recorded history of this data. That is not a sentence I take lightly. Insolvency records in BC go back decades, and we are setting them right here now in 2026. And the cause is not mysterious. More than 3.1 million Canadian mortgages, 52% of all mortgages outstanding, renew by the end of 2027. Of those 1.3 million renewals, for the first time since the record low rates of 2021 and 2022. OSFI itself, in its 2026 annual risk outlook, lifted mortgage risk from its number 4 risk last year to its number 1 risk this year in 2026. The condo segment in Toronto and Vancouver is, in their words, quoted, strained with sales at levels not seen since the 1990s. Many new condos are now worth less at completion than the buyer paid at presale, and that is not a rumor, that is the federal banking regulator on the record. Layer on top of that the labor signal. Employment insurance benefit payments rose 19.2% year over year in Q4 of 2025. Bloomberg's Canadian Consumer Confidence Index, which I just posted about in a recent video, just posted its steepest 5-week decline since April of 2020, with a share of Canadians describing their job as not secure, hitting its highest level since the pandemic. Many realtors will not tell you what comes next, but I will. When you combine a depressed renewal cohort, 14% more delinquencies in 3 months, record insolvencies, and rising EI claims, you get a population that is not visibly leaving the city, but that is functionally leaving the housing market. They are downsizing under duress, they are listing because they have to, not because they want to, and they are the silent supply that explains why Vancouver inventory is 51% above the 10-year April average, even as new listings dip slightly. And I'm going to give you one bonus flow here, and I added one because the data demanded it. The Strait of Hormuz wildcard. Right now, the Bank of Canada is holding rates. The market has priced in roughly 1 hike for the year, but the bank's own messaging out of the last meeting was that 2 consecutive rate hikes remain on the table if the Russia-Ukraine war does not de-escalate and if oil prices do not come off their current range tied to the Strait of Hormuz tensions. Inflation expectations among Canadian consumers are already drifting to roughly 4% over the next 12 months, well outside the bank's 1 to 3% target band. What that means is that the renewal cliff that is already pushing households into delinquency could get steeper, not flatter, by the end of this year. If you're a homeowner reading this and you renew in late 2026 or 2027, your floor case is bad and your ceiling case just got worse. So now circle the 3 flows back to the actual market data we got in April of 2026. In the Vancouver region, 3,157 sales, the 4th fewest April in 26 years, 32% below the 10-year average. Composite benchmark pricing is down 6.9% year over year, and the detached benchmark down 8.3%, where condos saw a 7.9% drop. As we outlined off the top, West Vancouver, the heart of our luxury market, is down 12.8% in 12 months and 23% lower over the past decade. Active inventory, 51% above the 10-year April average, with 7.6 months worth of supply. These are not numbers you get in a strong city. These are numbers you get in a city that is on net, losing people from the international tap, losing people to other provinces, and losing households out of the homes they already own. That is the answer to the questions on the title card. Vancouver is not being abandoned in a single dramatic exodus. It is being drained from 3 different directions at once, and the property market is the meter showing the level dropping. And here is the part everyone watching needs to hear. This is not a moment to panic, and it's not a moment to be cute either. This is a moment to be precise. If you own in the city, you need a real strategy for what happens between now and your next renewal. Not a hope, not a wait and see plan. If you are a buyer, this market is finally giving you something it has not given you in a decade: selection, time, and leverage. Detached inventory is at 8.9 months of supply, and that is a buyer's market by every classical definition. You have negotiating room, and if you are sitting on a pre-sale that closes in the next 12 to 24 months, the OSFI quote about new condos closing below their purchase price is not a horror story. It is a warning for you to plan now. The agents who are pretending none of this is happening, who are still posting Vancouver always goes up, are not doing you a favor. They are protecting their own commission narrative, and the right move is to look at the data, look at the migration story behind it, and build a plan around the city as it actually is. If you are in that position right now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.